Captain Sam Harris stood at the wide window of his ship and looked out at the stars. The USS Valor floated in orbit around Cathara Prime, a massive space station where dozens of alien species came to trade and talk. Today was special. Today, humanity would sign its first military alliance with an alien civilization. Sam had served in the fleet for 23 years. He had seen battles and lost friends. He had watched humanity reach out into the galaxy and find that they were not alone. Some aliens were kind. Some were dangerous. Most were simply different. But the Selvari had seemed like the perfect partners. The Selvari looked almost like tall, thin humans with gray skin and large dark eyes. They spoke softly and moved with grace. Their leader, High Speaker Vorath, had come to Earth 2 years ago with a simple message. The galaxy was dangerous. A terrible enemy called the Hollow Swarm was spreading through space, eating everything in its path. The Selvari wanted friends. They wanted allies. They wanted humanity to stand beside them. Sam believed them. The door behind him opened, and his first officer walked in. Commander Lisa Grant was a sharp woman with short brown hair and eyes that missed nothing. She had served with Sam for 6 years, and he trusted her completely. "The ambassador is ready," Lisa said. "The signing ceremony starts in 1 hour." Sam nodded. "Good. Have you met with the Selvari captains?" "I have." Lisa paused. "They are very polite." Sam caught something in her voice. "But..." Lisa walked to stand beside him at the window. She looked out at the Selvari ships floating nearby. They were elegant vessels, long and silver, with smooth curves. Beautiful ships. "I do not know," Lisa said slowly. "Something feels strange." They pushed very hard for this alliance. Very fast. "The swarm is getting closer to their territory," Sam said. "They are scared." "Maybe." Lisa crossed her arms. "I just wonder why they chose us. There are older species in the Galactic Concord, stronger species. Why come to humanity?" Sam smiled. "Maybe they see something special in us." Lisa did not smile back. "Or maybe they see something useful." Before Sam could answer, his communication officer called from the bridge. Ambassador Kevin Cole was requesting his presence at the ceremony. Sam straightened his uniform and walked toward the door. "Come on," he said to Lisa. "Let us go make history." The signing ceremony took place in the Grand Hall of Cathara Prime. The room was enormous, with high ceilings and walls made of some kind of glowing crystal. Representatives from 12 different species had come to watch. This was a big moment. Humanity was young in the galaxy, only 12 years since first contact. An alliance with the Selvari would prove that humans could be trusted partners. Ambassador Kevin Cole stood at the center of the room. He was a calm man in his 50s with gray hair and a warm smile. He had spent his whole career building bridges between species. This was his greatest achievement. High Speaker Vorath stood across from him. The Selvari leader was tall and thin, dressed in flowing white robes. His dark eyes showed no emotion as he watched the human ambassador. "Today," Cole said to the gathered crowd, "humanity and the Selvari Dominion join hands as allies. We will defend each other. We will fight together against the darkness that threatens us all. This is the Treaty of Cathara." He signed the document with a steady hand. Vorath stepped forward and added his own mark, a symbol that glowed briefly on the paper. The crowd made sounds of approval. Sam felt a wave of pride wash over him. This was what humanity could do. They could make friends. They could build alliances. They did not have to face the darkness alone. After the ceremony, Vorath approached Sam directly. The alien leader moved without sound, like a ghost. "Captain Harris," Vorath said. His voice was soft and smooth. "I understand you will lead the human ships in our first joint operation." "That is correct," Sam said. "We will defend your colony world of Dreth 4 against the swarm. You honor us." Vorath bowed his head slightly. "I must tell you, Captain. The Selvari have watched humanity for many years. We see great potential in your species." "I'm Sunshin Boladit." "Thank you, High Speaker. You are trusting," Vorath continued. "Open. You believe in the good of others. It is a rare quality in this galaxy." Sam felt warmth in his chest. We try to see the best in people. Yes. Vorath's dark eyes seemed to look right through him. You do. 2 days later, the combined fleet jumped to Dreth 4. Sam stood on the bridge of the Valor and watched the human ships take their positions. 12 vessels in total, carrying over 6,000 crew members. Behind them, the Selvari fleet waited. 20 ships, silver and silent. All ships report ready, Lisa said from her station. We are in defensive formation as planned. Humans in front, Selvari behind. Sam nodded. The plan made sense. Human ships had stronger forward shields. They would absorb the first wave of any swarm attack, while the Selvari provided fire support from behind. Any sign of the swarm? Sam asked. Nothing yet, the sensor officer reported. Space is clear. They waited. Minutes passed. Then hours. The stars remained quiet. No enemy ships appeared on the sensors. Lisa frowned at her screen. Captain, I am reading something strange. What is it? Energy buildup. Coming from the Selvari fleet. Sam turned to look at the display. The Selvari ships behind them were powering up their weapons. All of them. At the same time. That does not make sense, Sam said. There is no enemy here. Lisa's face went pale. Captain, their weapons are targeting us. Before Sam could speak, the first shot hit the Valor. The ship shook violently. Alarms screamed. Sam was thrown to the floor as explosions ripped through the hull. They had lowered their shields as a gesture of trust. Now that trust was killing them. All hands, Sam shouted as he pulled himself up. Battle stations. We are under attack. On the view screen, he watched 2 human ships explode in balls of fire. The Selvari fleet was firing everything they had. Beam weapons, missiles, torpedoes, all aimed at the backs of their allies. Lisa grabbed the communication controls. This is the USS Valor to Selvari Command. Cease fire. We are your allies. The response came through the speakers. It was Vorath's voice, calm and cold. You were never our allies, Commander. You were our shield, and now you will serve your purpose. The transmission ended. Another explosion rocked the ship. Sam tasted blood in his mouth. Around him, his crew was dying. His friends were dying. All because they had trusted the wrong people. Get us out of here, he ordered Lisa. Emergency jump, now. As the Valor's engines screamed to life. Sam looked back at the view screen one last time. The Selvari ships were still firing. Still killing. Their silver hulls gleamed in the light of burning human vessels. They had promised peace. They had shot their allies in the back. And Sam Harris, if he survived this day, would make sure they paid for every single life they took. The USS Valor was dying. Lisa Grant held onto the command chair as another explosion tore through the lower decks. Smoke filled the bridge. Red emergency lights flashed everywhere. The screams of wounded crew members mixed with the endless wail of alarms. Shields are gone, someone shouted. Hull breach on decks, 4 through 7. Lisa looked down at Captain Harris. He lay on the floor where he had fallen. Blood covering half his face from a wound on his head. He was still breathing, but he was not moving. Get the captain to medical, Lisa ordered. 2 crew members rushed to help, dragging Sam toward the door. Through the view screen, Lisa could see the battle. It was not really a battle. It was a slaughter. The Selvari fleet had positioned themselves perfectly behind the human ships. They had known exactly where to aim. They had been planning this for a long time. The USS Franklin exploded in a massive fireball. 300 crew, gone in an instant. Lisa felt her heart break, but she did not have time for grief. How many ships do we have left? She demanded. 4, the sensor officer said. His voice was shaking. No, 3. The Bennett just lost power. Lisa watched the Bennett drift helplessly as Selvari weapons tore it apart. That was another 400 lives. Ma'am, the communications officer called out. The Griffin and the Monroe are requesting orders. Lisa took a deep breath. She was in command now. Over 1,000 lives on 3 ships depended on her decisions. Tell all surviving ships to form up on the Valor. she said. "We are getting out of here. The jump drive is damaged," the engineer reported. "I need 3 minutes to fix it." "You have 2, Lisa said. "Everyone else, give me everything we have. Fire at will. Buy us time." The Valor turned toward the Selvari fleet and fired. Its weapons were weak compared to the enemy, but Lisa did not care about winning. She cared about surviving. The Selvari ships pressed their attack. More beams hit the Valor. More sections of the ship were destroyed. Lisa could feel the vessel shaking apart around her. "Come on," she whispered. "Come on." On the view screen, she saw the Griffin take a direct hit to its engine section. The ship began to spin out of control. "Griffin reports they cannot jump," the communications officer said. "They are telling us to go without them." Lisa closed her eyes for just a moment. Captain Nina West was on the Griffin. They had trained together. They had been friends for 10 years. "Send them our thanks," Lisa said quietly. "And tell them we will remember." The Griffin turned and flew straight at the nearest Selvari ship. It was a suicide run. The small human vessel crashed into the enemy, and both ships exploded together. "Jump drive is ready," the engineer shouted. "All ships, jump now," Lisa commanded. The stars stretched into lines of light as the Valor and the Monroe escaped into hyperspace. Behind them, the burning remains of the human fleet floated among the silver Selvari ships. The silence of hyperspace was almost worse than the noise of battle. Lisa stood alone on the damaged bridge, surrounded by broken equipment and injured crew. The lights flickered, the air smelled of smoke and blood. She walked slowly to the captain's chair and sat down. Her hands were shaking. She could not make them stop. "Damage report," she said. The numbers were terrible. The Valor had lost 40% of its crew. Over 200 people dead. The Monroe was in even worse shape. Only half its systems were working. Out of 12 ships and 6,000 crew members, only 2 ships and less than 800 people had survived. "Ma'am." The communications officer looked at her with tears in his eyes. "Admiral Torres is requesting a report." "What do I tell her?" Lisa thought about the words she would have to say. She thought about the families who would receive terrible news. She thought about the empty chairs at dinner tables across human space. "Tell her the truth," Lisa said. "The Selvari betrayed us. The Alliance was a trap. 4,000 of our people are dead." She paused and looked out at the swirling colors of hyperspace. "And tell her this is not over." 3 hours later, Lisa sat beside Sam's bed in the medical bay. The doctors had done what they could. He had burns on his arms and chest. The wound on his head had needed 20 stitches. He would live, but recovery would take time. Sam opened his eyes slowly. They were filled with confusion at first, then with pain as he remembered. "Lisa," he said. His voice was weak. "The fleet?" She told him. She told him about the Griffin, and the Franklin, and the Bennett. She told him about Nina West, and all the others who had died. She told him about the 1,000-year-old trick that humanity had fallen for. When she finished, Sam was silent for a long time. Tears ran down his face, mixing with the bandages. "I trusted them," he said finally. "I looked into Vorath's eyes, and I believed him." "We all did," Lisa said. "This is not your fault." 4,000 people, Lisa. 4,000 people who followed my orders, who trusted me to keep them safe. Lisa took his hand. "They did not die because of you. They died because the Selvari are murderers. And those murderers will pay." Sam turned his head to look at her. Something changed in his eyes. The grief was still there. But now there was something else. Something harder. "Yes," he said. "They will." The Valor arrived at Earth 5 days later. The ship was barely holding together. Rescue vessels met them halfway and transferred the wounded to proper hospitals. The news had already spread across human space. The Cathara Massacre, they were calling it. People gathered in the streets of every major city. Some cried, some screamed in anger, some held pictures of loved ones who would never come home. Lisa stood at the Valor's window and watched Earth grow larger. She had grown up in a small town in Ohio. She had joined the fleet because she wanted to explore the stars, to meet new species, to be part of something bigger than herself. Now she understood the truth. The galaxy was not a place of wonder. It was a place of danger. And humanity had just learned that lesson in the worst possible way. Her communication device beeped. A message from Fleet Command. Commander Grant. Report to headquarters immediately. Admiral Torres wants to see you. Lisa looked at the message for a long moment. Then she looked back at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Selvari were celebrating. They thought they had won. They thought humanity was broken. They were wrong. Lisa remembered something her grandfather had told her when she was young. He had been a soldier in a long-ago war. He had seen terrible things. But he had also seen what happened when you pushed people too far. Humans are patient, he had said. We can take a lot of punishment. We can forgive a lot of wrongs. But there is a line. And when someone crosses that line, we do not forget. We do not forgive. We wait. We plan. And then we make them pay. The Selvari had crossed that line. And Lisa Grant made a silent promise as Earth filled her window. She would be there when humanity collected its debt. She would look into Vorath's eyes when he finally understood his mistake. He had thought human trust was weakness. He was about to learn what human anger looked like. 3 weeks after the massacre, Sam Harris walked into the United Nations Space Command headquarters. He moved slowly, using a cane to support his weight. His burns were healing, but the scars would stay with him forever. The building was busy with officers and officials moving in every direction. Everyone knew who Sam was. They stepped aside as he passed. Some saluted. Some simply nodded with respect in their eyes. Sam did not feel like a hero. He felt like a man who had failed. But he also felt something else now. Purpose. Admiral Diane Torres met him at the door to the main conference room. She was a tall woman in her 60s with silver hair and a face that had seen too many wars. Captain Harris, she said. Good to see you on your feet. Thank you, Admiral. I understand you have news. Torres led him into the room. A large table filled the center, surrounded by screens showing maps and data. Several other officers were already seated, including Lisa Grant. She had been promoted to captain after her actions during the escape. Please sit, Torres said. We have much to discuss. Sam took his seat beside Lisa. She gave him a small nod. They had spoken many times since the attack, planning and grieving together. They both knew what needed to happen. Torres activated one of the screens. It showed a face that Sam knew well. High Speaker Vorath. Our intelligence teams have been working around the clock, Torres said. Dr. Beth Murray will explain what we have found. A young woman with glasses stepped forward. She looked nervous, but her voice was steady. The Selvari deception runs deeper than we thought, Beth said. They have been planning this for at least 20 years. Before they even made first contact with humanity. She changed the screen to show a timeline. They approached us specifically because we were new to the galaxy. Young. Trusting. They knew we would not recognize the warning signs that older species would have seen. What warning signs? Lisa asked. The Selvari have done this before. Beth showed images of other alien species. 3 times in the past 200 years. They make an alliance with a weaker species. They position them in front of a common enemy. Then they betray them at the worst possible moment. Sam felt his hands tighten into fists. So we were just the latest victims. Yes, but also the luckiest. Beth pulled up more data. The other species they betrayed were completely destroyed. We are the first to survive with enough strength to fight back. Admiral Torres stepped forward again. The Galactic Concord has officially condemned the attack. But they have also made it clear that they will not help us. They are calling this a bilateral dispute. A bilateral dispute? Sam could not keep the anger from his voice. They murdered 4,000 people. The Concord does not want a war, Torres said calmly. They are afraid. The Selvari have a large fleet and powerful weapons. Most species would rather look away than risk their own ships. Lisa spoke up. What about the other species the Selvari betrayed? The survivors? There are none, Beth said quietly. We are alone. The room fell silent. Sam looked around at the faces of his fellow officers. He saw grief. He saw anger. But he did not see defeat. "So we fight alone," he said. "That is fine. Humanity has fought alone before." Torres almost smiled. "I was hoping you would say that." She activated another screen. "This is Operation Reckoning." The screen showed a detailed battle plan, fleet movements, targets, timelines. It was the largest military operation in human history. "We cannot strike immediately," Torres explained. "We need time to rebuild our fleet. Time to gather intelligence. Time to find weaknesses in the Selvari defense." "How long?" Lisa asked. 6 months, maybe more." Sam shook his head. 6 months is a long time. The Selvari will think we have given up. That is exactly what we want them to think." Torres leaned forward. "We will go quiet. We will pull back from galactic affairs. We will let them believe that the massacre broke us, and while they celebrate their victory, we will be preparing." A new officer entered the room. He was a broad-shouldered man with a stern face, Admiral Chris Lawson, the commander who would lead the operation. "I just received word from Senator Paul Drake," Lawson said. "The Security Council has approved Operation Reckoning. We have full authorization to proceed." Torres nodded. "Then we begin. Captain Harris, Captain Grant, I have a special assignment for you." She pulled up images of 3 alien species. Sam did not recognize any of them. "These are the Torani, the Mekath, and the Voss," Torres said. "They have contacted us privately. They are disgusted by what the Selvari did. They want to help." "Help how?" Lisa asked. "Intelligence. Supply routes. Safe harbors for our ships. They cannot fight beside us openly, but they can give us eyes and ears in Selvari space." Adamantly, Sam studied the alien faces on the screen. "Can we trust them?" "We will verify everything," Torres said. "We learned that lesson the hard way. But their information has already checked out. They have no love for the Selvari." The meeting continued for 3 more hours. Plans were made. Roles were assigned. By the end, Sam had a clear picture of what the next months would look like. Humanity would hide its strength. It would pretend to be weak. It would let the Selvari believe their victory was complete. And then, when the time was right, humanity would show the galaxy what happened when you betrayed them. After the meeting, Sam stood alone on the roof of the headquarters building. The sun was setting over the city. Millions of people moved through the streets below, living their lives, unaware of the storm that was coming. Lisa found him there an hour later. "You should be resting," she said. "I have rested enough." Sam looked at his cane. "I keep thinking about what Vorath said to me. That humans are trusting. That we see the best in people. He was not wrong. No. But he made a mistake." Sam turned to face her. "He thought our trust made us weak. He thought that once he broke that trust, we would crumble." "What did he miss?" Sam smiled. It was not a warm smile. He missed what comes after the trust is broken. He does not know what we become when someone hurts us. When someone takes our people from us. Lisa nodded slowly. "He thinks the story is over. The story is just beginning." Sam looked back at the sunset. "In 6 months, we are going to show him the truth. We are going to show the whole galaxy. What truth is that?" Sam gripped his cane tightly. Somewhere out there, 4,000 ghosts were waiting for justice. That humanity never forgets. And we never stop until the debt is paid. Lisa stood beside him as the last light faded from the sky. Tomorrow, the real work would begin. The building, the planning, the waiting, but the end was already written. The Selvari just did not know it yet. They had made an enemy of humanity, and that was a mistake they would never make again. 6 months passed like a slow dream. On the Selvari homeworld, High Speaker Vorath was celebrated as the greatest leader in their history. Statues were built in his honor. Songs were written about his brilliant strategy. The humans had been crushed, the people said. Their fleet was destroyed. Their spirit was broken. They would never threaten anyone again. Vorath believed it. He had seen the reports. Human ships had disappeared from galactic trade routes. Human diplomats had withdrawn from the galactic concord. Earth had gone silent. It was exactly what he had planned. The humans were soft, Vorath told his advisors during a celebration feast. They trusted too easily. They believed our lies because they wanted to believe. It was almost too simple. His second-in-command, Tactician Ren, nodded in agreement. What is our next target? The Mecheth, Vorath said. They control valuable mining systems. We will approach them with an offer of friendship. The same approach we used with the humans. Ren smiled. They will never suspect. Far across the galaxy, in a hidden corner of space that appeared on no Selvari maps, Captain Lisa Grant stood on the bridge of her new ship. The Retribution was twice the size of the old Valor. Its weapons were more powerful. Its shields were stronger, and it was just one of 500 new vessels that humanity had built in secret. All systems ready, Captain, her first officer reported. Lisa looked out at the gathered fleet. Ship after ship stretched across the darkness. Human engineering. Human determination. Human anger. Any word from the intelligence networks? She asked. The Torani report that the Selvari fleet is scattered. Most of their ships are celebrating at the homeworld. They are not expecting any threat. Lisa allowed herself a small smile. Good. Then they will not see us coming. On Earth, Sam Harris sat in a command center deep underground. Screens covered every wall, showing troop movements and fleet positions. He no longer commanded a ship. His injuries had ended his time in space, but Admiral Torres had given him a new role, strategic advisor to Operation Reckoning. Admiral Lawson stood beside him, studying the maps. The fleet is in position. 500 ships at the staging point. Another 200 waiting as reserves. Sam nodded. What about ground forces? 50,000 soldiers ready for deployment, all volunteers. Sam looked at the Admiral. 50,000 people willing to fight for revenge? Not revenge, Lawson said. Justice. There is a difference. Sam thought about that. He had spent 6 months thinking about what came next. At first, all he had wanted was to make the Selvari suffer. To burn their worlds the way they had burned human lives. But somewhere along the way, his thinking had changed. Burning innocent Selvari civilians would not bring back the 4,000 dead. It would not honor their memory. It would only make humanity into something ugly. The plan remains the same? Sam asked. Yes. Military targets only. We will destroy their ability to wage war. Their shipyards. Their weapons factories. Their fleet. But we will not touch their cities or their civilians. Sam looked at the map showing the Selvari homeworld. Millions of people lived there. People who had never hurt anyone. People who had been lied to by their own leaders. Some will call us weak for showing mercy, Sam said. Let them. Lawson's voice was firm. We are not doing this to prove how strong we are. We are doing this to prove who we are. Humans do not murder civilians. Not even the civilians of our enemies. A communication officer called out from across the room. Admiral, we have received confirmation from our allies. The Torani, Mecheth, and Voss networks are in place. They will provide real-time intelligence during the operation. Lawson looked at Sam. 3 species helping us in secret. After the Selvari betrayal, I never thought we would trust aliens again. Trust has to be rebuilt slowly, Sam said. These species have earned it. They have spent 6 months proving their loyalty, and if we win, they will be our allies for real. Not like the false alliance with the Selvari. Sam stood up and walked to the main screen. Lisa's face appeared on it. Transmitted from across the galaxy. Captain Grant, Sam said. Is the fleet ready? Ready and waiting, sir. Sam took a deep breath. This was the moment. 6 months of pain and planning had led to this. Begin Operation Reckoning. The human fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Selvari territory, like a storm breaking through clouds. 500 ships, the largest force humanity had ever assembled, and on every bridge, the same message played through the speakers. We remember Cathara. Lisa stood at the center of her bridge as the Retribution led the advance. Ahead of them, Selvari patrol ships scrambled to respond. They were too few. Too slow. They had never expected this. Weapons ready, Lisa ordered. Target their military stations only. Leave the civilian ships alone. The first shots were fired. Selvari defense platforms exploded under the assault. Their orbital weapons turned toward the human fleet. But the new ships were faster and tougher than anything the Selvari had seen before. "Captain," the sensor officer called. "We are receiving a transmission from the Selvari command. Put it through." High Speaker Vorath's face appeared on the screen. For the first time, Lisa saw fear in those dark eyes. "This is madness," Vorath shouted. "We destroyed your fleet. You cannot be here." Lisa smiled coldly. "You destroyed 12 ships, Speaker. You killed 4,000 of our people. Did you really think that was enough to stop humanity? The Galactic Concord will not allow this. They will stop you. The Concord has already made their position clear. This is a bilateral dispute, and we are here to settle it." Quote, quote. Vorath's face twisted with rage and terror. "You will pay for this. The Selvari Dominion will never surrender. We are not asking you to surrender." Lisa leaned forward. "We are telling you that the era of Selvari betrayal is over. You can fight and lose everything, or you can watch as we remove only your ability to hurt anyone else. The choice is yours." She cut the transmission. Back on Earth, Sam watched the battle unfold on his screens. Human ships moved through Selvari space like fire through dry grass. One by one, military targets fell. Shipyards burned. Weapon factories collapsed. The great Selvari fleet, scattered and unprepared, was destroyed piece by piece. And through it all, not a single civilian target was hit. Human ships flew past population centers without firing. Ground forces landed only at military bases. When Selvari soldiers surrendered, they were taken prisoner, not killed. Admiral Torres stood beside Sam, watching the same screens. "The other species are watching," she said. "The whole galaxy is watching." "Good." Sam's eyes never left the display. "Let them see. Let them see what humanity does when we are betrayed. And let them see how we treat the innocent, even when we are at war. Some will think we are fools for not destroying everything. Some will, but most will understand." Sam finally looked at the Admiral. The Selvari spread across the galaxy by making allies and then betraying them. They used treachery as a weapon. We will spread by showing that we can be trusted. That our word means something. That even in victory, we remember who we are. Torres nodded slowly. "A long game. The longest. But when we are done, the galaxy will know the truth about humanity. We are not perfect. We are not the strongest. But we keep our promises. And we never forget." On the screen, the Selvari homeworld grew larger as the human fleet approached. The final battle was beginning, and 4,000 ghosts watched from the stars. The battle for the Selvari homeworld lasted 3 weeks. Captain Lisa Grant led the orbital assault herself. The Retribution moved through the defense grid like a blade through cloth. One by one, the Selvari military stations fell. Their ships burned, their weapons went silent, but Lisa kept her promise. Every time a civilian vessel crossed their path, she ordered her crews to hold fire. When Selvari escape pods drifted through the battlefield, human ships picked them up and treated the wounded. It was not the war the Selvari had expected. On the surface, Admiral Chris Lawson commanded the ground forces. 50,000 human soldiers landed at military bases across the planet. The fighting was fierce. The Selvari were desperate, but they were also confused. The humans were not burning their cities. They were not killing their families. They were only destroying weapons and taking soldiers prisoner. "This makes no sense," a captured Selvari general said during his interrogation. "You have the power to destroy us completely. Why do you hold back?" Lawson looked at the alien for a long moment. "Because we are not you." The general did not understand. He had spent his whole career learning how to betray, how to trick, how to destroy enemies without mercy. The idea that someone would choose mercy when they did not have to was beyond his comprehension. Back on Earth, Sam Harris watched every moment of the operation. He had not slept more than a few hours at a time since the fleet departed. He could not rest. Not until it was finished. 3 weeks into the campaign, the end finally came. The last Selvari military base surrendered. Their fleet was gone. Their weapons were destroyed. Their ability to threaten anyone had been completely removed, and not a single Selvari city had been touched. The official surrender took place in orbit above the Selvari homeworld. Lisa Grant represented humanity. High Speaker Vorath represented what remained of the Selvari Dominion. They met in a conference room on the Retribution. Vorath looked nothing like the confident leader who had signed the Treaty of Cathara. His robes were torn. His face was thin and tired. His dark eyes held no tricks, only defeat. "You have won," Vorath said. His voice was flat. "What do you want from us?" Lisa placed a document on the table between them. "The terms are simple. Your military will be dissolved. Your weapon factories will be converted to civilian use. Human peacekeepers will remain in your space for the next 50 years to ensure you never rebuild your ability to threaten others. You are making us helpless. We are making you safe, for yourselves and for everyone else." Vorath read the document slowly. "And what of me? What of the Selvari leadership?" "You will stand trial. Not for losing a war, but for crimes against peace. You will answer for the 4,000 humans you murdered. You will answer for every species you betrayed before us. The Galactic Concord will never allow this." Lisa almost laughed. "The Galactic Concord has been very busy these past 3 weeks. 4 other species have submitted testimony about Selvari betrayals. Evidence that was hidden for centuries has suddenly appeared. It seems you have fewer friends than you thought." Vorath's hands shook as he signed the surrender document. His empire of lies had finally collapsed. After the ceremony, Lisa remained alone in the conference room. A few minutes later, the door opened and Sam Harris walked in. He moved slowly, still using his cane, but his eyes were sharp and clear. "I watched the surrender," Sam said. "You handled it well. I wanted to hurt him." Lisa's voice was honest. "When he was sitting across from me, I wanted to make him suffer. For Nina West. For everyone we lost. But you did not." "No." Lisa looked out the window at the Selvari homeworld below. "Because that would have made us like them. And the whole point of this war was to show that we are different." Sam stood beside her. They watched the planet together. Millions of people down there were learning that their government had lied to them for generations. Their lives would change forever, but they would live. "Do you think they will understand?" Lisa asked. "Do you think the Selvari people will ever see why we showed mercy? Some will, some will not. It does not matter." Sam touched the window with his damaged hand. "We did not do this for them. We did it for us. For who we want to be." "Mix Gotti." A communication signal beeped. Lisa answered it and saw Admiral Torres on the screen. "Captain Grant." "Sam." Torres looked tired but satisfied. "The Galactic Concord has just issued a formal statement. They are recognizing humanity as a major power in galactic affairs. They want to establish closer ties." "How surprising," Sam said dryly. "Several species have also reached out directly. The Torani, the Maketh, and the Voss want to formalize their alliance with us. Others are interested as well." Lisa smiled. "It seems betraying humanity was bad for business. There is more." Torres paused. 6 species have requested human peacekeepers to monitor treaties in their regions. They say they trust us to be fair." The words hung in the air. Trust. Such a simple word. Such a powerful thing. "Tell them we will consider their requests," Sam said. "But remind them that trust takes time. We learned that lesson the hard way." The transmission ended. Lisa turned back to the window. Somewhere out there, the stars were full of possibilities. New species to meet, new friendships to build, new challenges to face. "What happens now?" she asked. Now we go home, Sam said. We rebuild, we heal, and we remember. Remember what? Everything. The people we lost, the mistake we made by trusting too easily, and the choice we made to stay true to ourselves even when we wanted revenge. Lisa nodded. She thought about the crew members who had died at Cathara. She thought about Nina West flying the Griffin into that Selvari ship. She thought about all the pain and all the anger that had led to this moment. And she thought about what came next. A galaxy that had watched humanity fight a just war. A galaxy that had seen humans show mercy to a defeated enemy. A galaxy that was starting to understand what kind of species they were dealing with. The Selvari thought our trust made us weak, Lisa said. They were wrong. They thought our mercy would make us foolish. Wrong again. Lisa looked at Sam. The man who had been shot in the back by people he believed in. The man who had spent 6 months planning not destruction, but justice. What are we, Sam? If we are not weak and we are not foolish, what does that make humanity? Sam smiled. It was the first real smile she had seen from him since Cathara. We are the species that remembers. We are the species that keeps its word. We are the species that fights when we have to, and shows mercy when we can. He looked out at the stars one last time. And now the whole galaxy knows it. I reasoned. A message arrived on Lisa's console. It was from a species called the Torani, asking if humanity would consider a genuine alliance. Lisa read the message twice. Then she began to type her response. We will listen, she wrote. But this time, we will verify. She sent the message and watched it disappear into the stars. Behind her, Sam Harris stood in silence. The war was over. The debt was paid. And somewhere out there, 4,000 ghosts could finally rest. Humanity had kept its promise, and the galaxy would never forget it.